Good morning, everybody. This is Bobby from Fight Junkeez. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. What is up? Ode, how are you?
What's going on, guys? Ode Osborne here. Wait, hold on. What's going on, guys? Ode Osborne here. You know, our engineer was a little slow with the slip.
I'm sorry, Ode. What time did you get in today?
Hey, we won't talk about that, okay?
It was windy
It's
out.
Monday morning. It's windy. You know, I rode a motorcycle.
It's windy.
Windy, man. Windy,
It's
bud.
windy. What's up, dude?
Oh, man. It's going good, man. How would you, did you watch the PFL this weekend?
I watched some of the highlights. Yeah, that's what we want to get into. If you didn't know, there was really no fights at all this week. Well, there was some amazing fights with amazing athletes. I'll rephrase that. There was no UFC fights this weekend, but the PFL put on a great show.
Also, we can't forget, we got to talk about the boxing match between Anthony Pettis and Roy Jones Jr.
Or Jose Aldo.
Jose Aldo, Jeremy
And
Stevens.
Jose Aldo, yes.
Isn't it Jose?
No, it's Jose.
Jose.
It's Jose
Yes.
if you're this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Gamebred Productions, right? Or
Hey, apparently he's doing pretty well. Hey, Masvidal has done a pretty good job putting on shows. Now
Finally.
he just has to win fights.
You know, I was just looking at his record, and we're going to get into that. So what we're going to kind of do is talk a little bit about the PFL, a little bit about the boxing that went through with Gamebred, and then we're going to get into Masvidal Burns as a co-main event for UFC Miami this coming weekend. And then Thursday, we'll obviously kind of break down more of the main event, a couple days prior. So you went to the fights, huh? Did you go to the fights?
So I was supposed to go to the fights, and one of the UFC executives surprised me with a VIP tickets to the Red Hot Chili Peppers backstage.
I saw that on your story.
Yeah, so last minute I was like, I can't go to the fights, but it worked.
But you weren't supposed to corner or anything.
No, but I did pay. I did did a lot of live streams and watched on my phone, and I did see highlights of one of my teammates fought, Bubba Jenkins.
Yeah, I met him last week. He came by the studio.
Yes.
With you.
Yep. Yeah, Bubba's a great guy, man. He was a stud wrestler back in high school and college. He wrestled for Arizona State, and he's actually a national champion at Arizona State.
Wow.
Yeah, he fought Chris Wade, and that was like a grudge match because him and Chris Wade have real beef. Like, they fought, I think, 3 times outside the cage.
Like talk about your mama type of beef, like real beef.
Like smack your mama type of beef, exactly. But yeah, man, that was a good fight. It was great.
The PFL, it does like a tournament. Oh! We have
I gotta give you all the memo. Y'all just killed it. I'm still working on stuff back there. I can't show them yet.
Oh, man, we got our. Hold
you have the
on.
bell?
We have a special guest joining us. But wait. We'll get into it for a second. But yeah, man.
There's a tournament. Do you know anything about how the tournament structure goes?
I am not sure how they score it. I know that Bubba got 3 points. Maybe our guest knows a little bit more about the PFL and how they structure the point system. I'm not exactly sure how they do it. I just know it's a tournament style, and
it seems like a lot of work. It's like it's constant. Because we had Brendan, the one from Loughnane, from Manchester, in studio last week.
Does that man make weight? He's taller than me. I'm 5'10".
I took a picture with him, and I'm a extra thick.
All right. Go ahead. You want to introduce our guest?
No, go ahead.
Oh man. Well, joining us today in the studio, we have Jordan, the Monkey King Levitt.
I love your Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
man.
What did you just posted something? And then you said, what was it? A little spice or something? I forget what the caption was.
Zest is best.
Yeah, zest is best. That's what it was.
So
what's up?
Nothing much.
What's going on, Jordan? So here's what the thing is. So I accidentally scheduled the time for you to join at 9:30 p.m. It's like, but I didn't know. I thought it was 9:30 a.m. So I came in here and they're like, "Hey, you're doing Fight Junkeez," and I was like, "Well, might as well let's just combine the two and just
Yeah, might as well just shoot the breeze." Since there was no UFC fights this past weekend, my goal was to at least talk about the PFL a little bit, and then talk about Masvidal Burns today, and then Thursday we'll probably talk about Pereira versus Izzy and some of the other card. But how are you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Did you go to the fights or?
Oh, no, I didn't go to the fights, but I was watching them. One of my friends, Corey, was on PFL. He lost a close fight, but
do you know how the scoring is the point system is scored for the tournament?
Yeah, depending on what round you finish it in, like gives you points. If you win by decision, it's 3. So like if you win in the first round, you get 6. Second round 5. Third round 4, and then all decisions are 3 points.
And so, what is the total amount of points to advance into the finals?
It all depends on how many finishes are in like your weight class and your bracket. So sometimes, like that's why you've seen a lot of like rematches in the first round of the tournament. Like Chris Curtis lost against Magomedov, but since the way the seeding happened, he then fought him first fight in the bracket. So it all depends on
how the fights play out. I see. Yeah, because we were wondering about that because
it's different.
It is. It's very different. It is very different. I do like though. I have to say I do like that the referees have a microphone, like it has an earpiece in their ear.
Really?
Yes, they have an earpiece because the reason why I like that, after watching that ridiculous ref stoppage, have
Texas?
you seen that?
yes.
What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I think the guy was still fighting.
I mean, he broke his arm, woke up, and
kept going.
tapped.
He got put to sleep.
Yeah.
Take it out of the triangle. Got his arm broken. The ref's like, okay, give him a second.
I didn't know we had Herb Dean on right now.
Let them fight.
Jordan is like, fight to the death.
that was a disgrace.
So I do like that they have the PFL have.
Do you like their
microphones.
cam, the ref cam?
I don't know how I feel about the ref cam.
It looks sometimes a little too much. Like they're looking right down at a dude and he's dead. And you're like,
I don't know how I feel. What do you think about the ref cam, Jordan?
It's like when you like watch cop footage. Like it's for some people, not for everybody. But sometimes you want to get in the nitty gritty. But I don't want to see fights that close. I see that every day when I train. But I think it's fun. It's never the great quality camera either.
Never.
It's like HD 720. Frames per second. Guys all dead, all bodied. I like it though.
Oh, you got the 420p camera quality showing some blood and some teeth bobbing off.
They're just shooting it in a toaster.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the cam yet, the ref cam. I have to, like you said, it's like watching an episode of Cops. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes you're like, ooh, that was a nasty one. But yeah, man, let's move on to the Jorge Masvidal. He's been doing the Game Bread promotions. Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah, the boxing they had their boxing fights 2 days ago.
Yes, they did the Anthony Pettis, Roy Jones. They had Jose Aldo on that. Jorge Masvidal is doing a very good job of promoting his organization, and he's becoming a good businessman. He's actually becoming a better businessman than a fighter, maybe. That in my opinion. I think. I mean,
tell it how it is, brother. Tell it.
I mean, Jorge's what? He's won in 1 fight in his last 5 fights.
He has not won since 2019. That's when he really had that blowout year when he knocked out Till and then sent what's his face into the Shadow Realm.
Askren. Yes.
That was a fluke. I'm still bitter about that fight. Ben Askren was like my boy.
Yeah.
And then Masvidal killed him.
Listen,
Masvidal killed him.
Look, I'm a fan of Game Bread's fighting. You know what I'm saying? He always comes to fight. I think he's a better businessman. I think he's doing a great job at what he's doing right now, and he should just put all your energy into that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't. You know what I'm saying? If he fights Burns, or who is he gonna fight next? Edwards, Burns, who do they have him lining up to fight? Because it doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, that one.
How does it make any sense? He hasn't won a fight in.
So, all right, sorry, I was trying to post the link to the damn Instagram page. Yes, it does not make sense, but does anything make sense? You guys are both UFC fighters. You guys know things don't really make sense, nor does the top 10 really matter, right?
I mean, Kobe Covington haven't fought in 2 years, and he's fighting Leon Edwards. I'm just throwing it out there.
He's the people's champ, though. He would be champion if Kamaru wasn't champ. That's what Dana said.
Yeah, he's going to make the UFC great again. So
yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely the right wings champ.
Speaking of making the UFC great again, what do you think about the UFC merging with WWE? That just announced.
Developing news.
That just announced this morning.
Yeah.
Ooh, how do you feel about that?
I want to see Dana fight Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's the next matchup. Ever since that was announced, that was like every Instagram post I saw was just the tail of the tape with Vince and Dana, and I would pay for that because I know Dana wins.
Well, I think does it MMA Junkie like have a spy that lives in like the Apex headquarters?
Yeah, they have.
They know
people
shit
everywhere.
like way before.
They know shit like you ain't lying about that. Have you heard about that one, Jordan?
The merger?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the WWE Endeavor's is going to merge them together under a publicly traded thing and everything.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, right.
Great idea.
I do too. I think it's great for the UFC. I think so many the WWE has so many fans. There's such a big fan base, and all the fans are going to become.
It's crazy how many
fans.
tickets they sell every weekend. It's almost like it's a pay-per-view literally every single weekend. They sell out everywhere they go. It's ridiculous.
If I'm correct, I think the WWE actually has the highest selling pay-per-view thing of all time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A predetermined sports event.
Really? I think you're right.
Even bigger than Conor and Mayweather?
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because that was one of the biggest fight ones, right?
That was.
Yeah.
And then second to that was Conor and Khabib.
Yes, Conor Khabib.
Yeah.
But I think this one, this merge is gonna do not only the UFC but the WWE. You know what I'm saying? I think it's gonna be great. I think it's.
Do you see you guys merging with some of the you guys are MMA fighters in the UFC?
Oh, he's gonna do a spot.
You know what?
Hey Jordan, we need you to come in and fight Brock Lesnar in the WWE.
That was my dream as a kid. Fighting's kind of in the consolation prize. I'm not like some yoked, roided out, light-skinned guy, but I have all that pro wrestling energy.
To be fair,
I would love that.
You have years of training, with I don't know if you have siblings or anything, but training with them, just doing every move on your siblings and not letting them hit anything because you're
you shouldn't be allowed to go out and party because you look like somebody that someone would talk shit to. And then get kicked. Yeah, and then absolutely beat the living shit out of everyone in the room.
What do you mean look like?
He doesn't have an aggressive look to him. He's a sweet guy. Yeah. He doesn't carry himself aggressively with an ego, which I love because my ego died years ago as well as I got older. But you look like a nice person. That's somebody who is 25 and on a bunch of steroids who come up and be like, yo, would you look at my girl, bro? And then you'd fucking, right in the neck. And it'd be the end of their night. So, yeah. Be careful. There's a lot of UFC fighters out there that'll murk you, and they don't look like pro fighters.
I've had my share of interactions where I surprise people. I'm not very aggressive, but in every high school movie, everyone has this memory of this one sassy kid who would argue with everybody, who always had an opinion, and that was definitely me. So I've been a sponge for negative attention at parties in high school, wherever I go, and that's okay because sometimes things have to be said. But yeah,
I meant no disrespect. Don't beat me up.
No, I love that I have that aura. I have that way I carry myself.
He's a sleeper.
Yes,
yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think there's more people that can relate to you than the egotistical jock that Because there's a lot of people that
it's true. Because Jordan's the nicest, sweetest guy, comes across as just very
relaxed.
But then knees you he got a knee. What was that? A knee KO? Is that how you KO'd your last opponent?
I know. I was surprised as much as anybody. It was a really nice night.
I was like, what? I thought you were gonna grapple him to death and strangle him, and then you just kneed him in the face. I was like, oh. All right, so this is where this is going.
And then wore the best
that was the greatest
post-fight press conference outfit I've ever seen. Those boots
you killed it with
solid.
That. You killed it with that.
Thanks, Granddad. That was his suit.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
Speaking of Granddad, Jordan, I just found out Jordan Levitt is the biggest Boondocks fan, and I was surprised.
Missed that show.
Oh, I love Boondocks. I was surprised.
Oh, it's a masterpiece. I wish Magruder could come back and make. I want them to bring it back so bad.
Who's your favorite character on Boondocks?
Uncle Ruckus.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what
hear you over me
is.
shitting myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Uncle Ruckus.
Stick meaner.
Granddad's awesome. I like all of the damn characters. I'm very obviously Robert. I'm not Robert. Tom DuBois.
Yeah,
that's my spirit animal right there.
So I gotta ask you though. Growing up in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, I grew up here.
You grew up here? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I thought you grew up in Utah. Okay.
I do like Salt Lake though.
Yeah, I thought you grew up in Utah. You're just a Mormon from Vegas.
Yeah.
So how did your parents or your wife feel about you watching Boondocks? Has they ever walked in on you watching it and was just like...
My mom is a 6 foot tall ginger woman, and she's still the most hood person in my life to this day.
That's the clip right there.
And... So she always loved the Boondocks. My mom would hear all that racist stuff, and she would laugh. It's true, My wife, though, I showed my wife I watched an episode of the Boondocks for like the first episode, and the entire time I'm just staring at her like, seeing how she's going to react, because you know this is important things to know about your spouse. And afterwards, she like finishes it, and she kind of like does a little lap, drum, and she's like, "Well, that's very vulgar. We're not having that on in the house." And I'm like, "You're right.
Oh my God! When I found this out, I was so stoked because I was like, dude, I never thought you watched Boondocks, and I loved Boondocks growing up, man. Loved it, all the vulgarness. Boondocks, it was so relatable because we all know a character from the Boondocks in real life.
I'm gonna have to watch whatever this is.
Oh man,
it's an American black anime.
Yes,
and all the characters are black archetypes that are seen in the culture and media. So they have like the old freedom fighter, the self-hating black guy, the revolutionary, and then like the ghetto young man. Almost.
The nigga.
What about the MLK episode? Because that one was great.
Oh man,
I have the entire monologue speech completely memorized. We watched it 2 days ago.
Sounds like some like Chappelle Show type of comedy.
Yeah, it's
that's the vibe that I'm getting.
Exact same vein.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I definitely want to talk about this co-main event, though. I know we just went down. We were about to break down Masvidal, and then we went into the Endeavor, which I think is great. I hope to see you guys with the WWE belt as well. Or
I think Jordan, man,
you should call out Logan Paul.
Jordan, you have a character that would be. Man, the fans in WWE would love you. They would. They really would.
I believe.
They would love
without
you.
a doubt.
Well, if I get cut, that's where I'm going.
I met a lot of WWE guys in Iraq. We guarded like John Cena, Vince McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Kelly.
Yeah.
How did you guard somebody you couldn't see?
Hard stuff.
John Cena, you can't see him.
Oh yeah, I see that. I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan. I've heard that though, but they were just great. One of them, I forget his name. He stayed in character so much. We were like, come on, dude. Like,
really?
We're nowhere near anybody right now, bro.
I bet he was the best though.
He had a big afro. He was cool, but it was just too much. But
moving on.
So Masvidal and Burns.
Yeah.
We were talking about how Masvidal, had a great 2019 year, but where does he go now? Personally, I think that because of the 3-piece in the soda, if there was no 3-piece in the soda, there'd be no talks of him even going for a title right now because he's on a 3-fight skid.
Yeah.
But like, in your guys' honest opinion, as UFC fighters, like, where do you see that? I mean, your division's stacked, but 170 is kind of like,
well,
it's stacked, but it's been the same 3 people for like 4 years.
In my, there's 2 sides to this, right? There's the business side and the fighting side.
Facts.
Right? And since the UFC is a business, Masvidal is always going to be a huge draw. Yeah. Always. If it's going to be a business decision, then have him fight Burns. But if we're talking fighting, if we're talking like what's fair, you know what I'm saying? I don't like using that word, but what is like it should be. I don't see him fighting anybody that within the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't won since 2019. So I want to see him build himself correctly. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens if he jumps in again to fight somebody else that's, really good and takes another L? Then
he said he's going to retire if he loses Saturday.
Yeah, so he's fighting this Saturday?
Yeah. He's the co-main event for the... See, I was mixed up with that, too. I thought it was a fight night, but they're the co-main event for Izzy and Pierre's title fight.
Oh, I thought it was Burns, and, man, I have not kept up with this.
Yeah, Burns Masvidal is the co-main event for the Izzy fight. And then we also have Kelvin.
Oh, yeah, Burns Masvidal. I'm sorry. Yeah, this fight. I thought it was next... I'm sorry. I thought it was next week. It's this... Holy shit. It's this week already?
You're not alone. I thought it was
goodness.
Like the 22nd.
I thought it was next week. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Here at Fight Junkeez, we are prepared.
So,
wow.
When you look at you're like the 170, have you ever thought about going up to 170? You're a pretty big dude.
It's funny because I actually was a 45er 3 years ago, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're too small for 55." And then I put on some muscle,
You're big.
I know.
I weigh 210. Granted, 50 pounds of it's fat.
You're about to have Jordan.
You're the same size as me. I don't know how you guys cut all this weight.
I only cut like 24 pounds. It's a lot easier when I'm not cutting 30 anymore.
Yeah,
but
man,
my first UFC fights I've had when I was trying to get into the promotion, there was a few last minute fights. I almost fought at 170 twice for my UFC debut, but it didn't end up working out. And I'm very glad because they were not the best matchups, but it was to get into the show. Luckily, I got the Contender Series route, but I like to go 170 depending on the fighting style.
Yeah.
For sure.
How old are you?
27.
Okay, so you still have time to go up. For sure, you're still young.
I want to see Jordan fight Chase Hooper.
Oh, he's such a nice guy,
Isn't
though.
he at 55?
He's moving up to 55 now.
I heard that.
We've met. I
I think
can't meet my opponents or I can't fight them. It's like weird. That's why I can't train for anybody in my weight class. I'm like, I really like this guy. You know? Like,
So you never met Patty beforehand?
face.
You never met Patty beforehand? You were just like, no.
No, I never so. I didn't even watch any of Patty's interviews. I had no idea who Patty was until his debut, and during the entire fight camp, I never once watched an interview. I always watched fights on mute. Like I knew nothing about. So people always thought I was trying to downs, trying to talk him down. But in reality, I had no idea who he was. And I mean, he's the guy that teabagged me. So obviously he beat
remember.
me.
I saw that fight.
I'm not trying to be all cool, but I knew nothing about him, and everyone was like, "He has so much content about you." I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. It's just a fight, and
I think that's a smart way to go.
It is.
It
is.
I mean, I've never been in the cage, but as you guys know, I've been overseas in combat. And if I literally watched the news every day, this many soldiers got blown up today, I'd be like, I'm not going on patrol today. Right. Are you kidding me? I'm not going anywhere.
For real, though.
I'm going to fake an injury and go back to Germany. But
right. So how do you see this fight playing out, Jordan?
With Burns and Masvidal?
Yeah.
So if Burns could get Masvidal a lead, Burns will knock him out. But I imagine that Masvidal is going to hide behind his high guard.
Yeah.
So Masvidal, the only time he's ever been dropped really or hurt is when he extends on his jab because he likes to lean forward with the jab and get hit with overhands. And that's all Burns has is a big right hand that he just wings. So I imagine Masvidal knows that. I think the only times Masvidal's been knocked out has been surprising people that shouldn't have knocked him out, on paper. So I think Burns is either going to wrestle him for 3 rounds, get the decision, or Masvidal is going to kind of be on his feet and land a jab every once in a while, and to be really boring. I don't rate Masvidal very highly. I think the reason the division's so messed up is because everyone picks Masvidal as the easy fight because he kind of got lucky with the Askren knockout, and he upset Till, and then Kamaru was like, "Oh yeah, I'll fight Masvidal on 5 days' notice for the title," and that kept Masvidal in the title picture that he didn't deserve to be in.
I agree 100%. Thank you for saying that.
That's why Kobe picked Masvidal. That's why Kobe wants to fight Masvidal again. Yep. They all want Masvidal because his record is not very impressive. He has a lot of hype behind him because he beat Nate Diaz, who I also don't rate generally highly.
Me either.
So I'm a hater.
And you're not hating, Jordan. You're just real. I think a lot of MMA fans don't see things for what it is. They look at you guys differently. I look at you guys differently as a fan than you guys look at them as competition. Exactly.
It's a big difference. So.
Exactly. I don't think Diaz or Masvidal, I don't rate them very highly as well. I think Burns eats Masvidal every which way. Yeah. I don't think it'll be even a close fight.
But yeah, Burns is a beast.
He is. He's an animal. And I hate when people are like, "Oh yeah, you watch Khamzat versus Burns. Khamzat's not that good because he went to." Man, Burns is an animal. What do you mean?
Yeah, his legs are huge too. He's got so much power.
I have 4 more fights than Khamzat. I have no experience whatsoever, and Khamzat has less experience than me. Khamzat went against one of the most grizzled, hard-nosed people in the division. Yeah. And yes, he fought super stupid. He fought super stupid. Gave Burns a lot of openings that shouldn't have been presented, but still won.
Man,
still pulled it out.
He's an animal. Khamzat's an animal. I think there was a thing. I'm not sure if it was an April Fool's or what, but Khamzat jumping in. I saw the
against Piera.
Yeah, the April Fool's thing. I was like, man.
Now I do think he wins with the right strategy. He beats Piera because of the wrestling.
He eats him. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he beats him.
And no disrespect to the champ.
No, I think he beats him. If he wrestles him, he beats him the first
round. May I quote what you said specifically in this room during that fight with Izzy? You and Eric Nixick both had a realization when Izzy took Pereira down, and you both went, "Oh, this guy has no idea what he's doing on the ground." You and Eric sat right there, and you both had a wide-eyed oh, legit, this is what Izzy should be doing, and then he didn't.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I watched that fight and I saw his ground game, and I was like, "Oh, you're fighting for a title right now. Oh my goodness."
None of this would have happened if Sean Strickland used his black belt, used his experience to fight the way he should have. Anybody should have.
Yep.
So none of this would have happened. Izzy would still be on some giant highlight, be in the talks for the GOAT of middleweight division. All if Sean Strickland wasn't like, I'm gonna outstrike one of the best kickboxers in history.
Yeah. So this Izzy fight is Sean's fault, actually.
It is.
It is. It really is. Izzy lost because of Sean Strickland.
But I think anybody in the top 5, I mean, Vettori, Whitaker, I think they just take him down and just ground and pound and they submit him. Because they're not going to strike with him, right?
No.
Everybody but Sean Strickland beats him. And Izzy. Everybody else in the top 5, possibly even the top 10, beats him. Every time. Every time. I don't care how big he's big. I'm like, yeah, he's big and
take his hips.
Only knows how to do half the skill sets in MMA.
I know. It's so I don't understand this. People are fighting for a title. Prime example. Ready? Prime example. Cyril Gane fighting for a title with no wrestling, no ground game. How?
Well, heavyweight's not a real division. That's not MMA.
They just need to have power.
It's fake. It's fake. You know, it's like women's 140. It's not a real division. I'm sorry, Amanda Nunes. Love her. You're not a double champ. There are 6 people in the higher division. That does not count.
He ain't lying. No.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I love Jordan, man.
That's great. It's not a real division. Yeah,
another fight.
That's the only division you could get literally to the belt with.
Yeah. It's
3 fights.
There needs to be more people in that division for sure. And another fight I'm really excited to see this weekend is Chris Curtis versus Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah, I just watched
Chris takes it.
some video on that. Gastelum's been out with multiple injuries. I think his mouth was all cut up. He had stitches in his mouth. And then he had another injury, but he's been out for a little while. But he's a dog. He's the only one that almost stopped Izzy. Even though he ended up losing by TKO in the 5th, but he still, got inside and kind of Mike Tyson boxed his way into the frame of Izzy. But I'm excited. How do you guys feel about layoffs? Like,
Jordan?
I think ring rust is a myth. That being said, my biggest injury was a knee surgery, which was like 10 months, which isn't really that long of a layoff. But
pretty big injury.
Yeah. It's a pretty big injury, but I kind of minimized it in my head. My sister had a way worse one. And she came back in 4 months. She's insane. But
did she compete in anything like sports?
Yeah, she wrestled. She got a full ride for wrestling, decided not to, and broke my heart. As like her coach brother.
Oh man.
But a lot of people see like these like athletes and like, oh, they've been gone for 3 years. They're working hard.
Dominic Cruz.
They should come back. But it's like, I know these guys. It's a very unprofessional sport. Like in like comparison to a lot of these other sports where people are making a bunch of money, like they're always working, always getting private lessons, always like expanding their skill set. I know so many fighters, even at UFC level, where when I was like 18, I'm like, do you know how to do this like jiu-jitsu move? They're like, I've never even seen that before.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 15, and Kevin Randleman was one of my first coaches, the late Kevin Randleman, and I was doing an omoplata sweep, and he was like, I've never seen that before. And he had been fighting at that point for like 14 years. His next fight, he like does an omoplata. But like this is the sport. Like people don't do any film study, generally speaking. You know, they don't run expand their skill set. Like I got to the big show with this skill set. I'm gonna stay with this skill set. This is what works.
Yep.
And that's why when ring rust, I don't think it's really much ring rust. It's that they did not grow their skill set in 3 years, and they weren't forced to adapt to the new tactics and the new meta of the sport during that time off.
I just talked to Coach Eric Nixick about that exact thing, that the fighters now are so much more well-rounded.
Yes.
Because, like, I grew up in, like, the Jake Ellenberger era. You know, I'm about to be 37 in a few weeks. That you were a specialist in your one, discipline back then, and it worked.
Yep,
but now
did.
you just can't.
So does Chuck Liddell, if he comes in his prime right now, does he do as well?
No,
he gets taken down.
Yeah, he gets.
Even though I heard he was like a really good wrestler, and Dana told him, "I don't want you to take people down."
But not just that, but the striking has developed so much. I wouldn't even say. Let me take that. I wouldn't even say not just the striking has developed.
It's more sophisticated. It's not just let me throw overhands.
But I think there's more people from different countries now that have been striking for years. You know what I'm saying? And before, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was more American-based, and now it's gotten so much more, diverse. The UFC has gotten so much more diverse, and I don't think Chuck Liddell would do as well at all.
The difference now is,
but at heavyweight, he would still be champion.
Yeah. and in the women's 145 division.
Yeah. Chuck beats Amanda Nunes every time.
Can you guys agree though? And I've been watching this sport since the beginning. There's less dogs and more athletes now.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Because like Chuck Liddell was a dog. Masvidal, 38 years old, dog. There's way more well-rounded athletes who wrestled in college. And so I'm not saying that they're not. I just don't see the same aggression. I see more calculated game plans going in, set, fight. Like, I don't know, that they're not going in there biting their mouthpiece like, I'm going to murder this dude. They're going in there like, I want to get the win, which I think is respectful.
Yeah.
But
you got to have a little bit of both, though. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a dog with your calculated tactics. Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure for you, me and Ode both would have many stories of like these guys who have a way better athletic pedigree than us, and like us making them cry or smoking them in train. It happens every day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy, 2-time NCAA champ, 4-time state champ in high school, and then they're crying. Like in 40 minutes. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
One of my earliest training
new
memories.
generation's coming up weak.
One of my earliest memories in training, I was 18, and there was like a tough enough champion. I'm not gonna name him because he went to the same gym and he's like my friend. But
name him.
my first sparring session, like I knew I was just basically training out of the park. I just sparred at the park with my friends. I made him cry, and he was like, "Oh, that guy's like 9-1 as an amateur." And that's when the coach at the time, John, was like, "Oh yeah, this kid's a be talented." He made the kid cry, But just because I had a dog in me, I'm like a little nerd, like with that Dexter Morgan energy. But like,
yeah, you fight more.
He said that Dexter Morgan energy. I'm dead.
You definitely. I've watched all your fights. Have much more of a. Not that you're not an athlete as well, but you could tell somebody's getting it like, I'm going to fuck this dude up.
Yeah, that's
versus I'm going to win.
Other guys are like, screaming, and I'm all like,
and then you come out,
my armpit, touching my belly. I'm like,
You're one of the
dropping the Riz on him.
Who I've seen you actually look a little more nervous before, and then once I've seen your face, you're more relaxed in the octagon, which is kind of like crazy.
The walkout is really like so. I've always had a lot of like social anxiety and stage fright.
Yep.
But when I get in the octagon, it's like in my head, it sounds pretty morbid, but it's like I'm either going to win or I'm not going to remember this anyway. I'm going to get knocked out. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, well, this is either good or nothing. So once I'm in the cage, I'm like, okay, cool. I got done with my walkout song. Everyone's laughing. We're all in a good mood. Worst case scenario, this is the last memory that's going to be in my head tonight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to win. It's going to be good. So
because you definitely have a relaxed aura.
Yeah, man. It's amazing.
You as well. But you do that dope sword thing.
The sword thing.
Cool. Yeah. Is that an anime thing as well?
No, actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
Because I've only seen Izzy as the only other fighter to do something like
Izzy
similar.
ran to lunch, okay? Izzy was the kid who would run to lunch, all right?
Arms behind himself. Yeah.
No, the sword thing. So back in Jamaica, a lot of people don't know this. So Jamaica is only 72 or 70 something years independent. That was one people ago. So they were controlled, owned, enslaved, however you want to put it, by the British. And 72 years ago, they fought for their freedom and became an independent country. We still have. I don't know if they still have queens on the money anymore. But when I was a kid, they still had like kings and queens, on the money. So what happened? So way longer than 70, maybe about 100 and some change years ago, there was a guy named Captain Cujo, and Captain Cujo was one of the maroon. They were kind of like a maroon tribe. There was a tribe of maroons in Jamaica. And the Maroons, actually, what they did was runaway slaves would run away, then they would like return them back to the plantation, and for like a fee or a cost or something like that, So what they did was they didn't feel right about doing that. So Captain Cujo decided, you know what? I'm gonna release the slaves. I'm gonna free the slaves. So at night they would go down, him and his brother, and then they formed a group of people to rebel, and they would go down into the plantations, and some of them would dress in all black and, literally hunt, kill plantation owners and free slaves. So I thought, I was like, that's really dope. That's like, don't interrupt me, Austin. I thought that was pretty dope. I was like, they're like ninjas, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I do like the ninja thing. All right, Austin, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, all you did was just describe One Piece, so it actually is an anime.
That's true. All right, touche. All right,
that's a cool story.
Yeah.
Because it's just sad how that is just how the world used to be.
Yeah, so that's why I do the ninja thing, because I was like, oh, he was like, in my head, I'm like, oh man, he's like, they're like ninjas going out, in the middle of the night, freeing slaves. I'm like, that's dope.
So you're fighting plantation owners.
That's why I became. I'm a Prince Hall Freemason, and I've been a Prince Hall, which is a dominantly black part of the Masonic history, because Prince Hall was born free to parents who were not slaves. But back in the day, the Blue House or George Washington Masons, you couldn't be a Freemason unless you were born free and of age.
I see.
But he was born free. So when he left British Barbados and he came over to the States, it's a long story, but I was drawn more to the Prince Hall side, and I've been Prince Hall since 07. But it's a real cool story about escaping that, even being born, free to parents who were not slaves. He was still treated by white Masons as if he, just because of the color of his skin, was not able to be a Mason. So he started his own organization, which is now one of the biggest in the world, which I've been a part of.
Yeah, so. That's awesome, man. Look, much respect to you for that. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what the 357 on my arm is, and we'll talk about that one of these days. A little conspiracy for the listeners, right?
That's what's up. So another fight I was curious about. I wanted to get your guys' opinions. Raul Rosas is fighting Christian Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys know much about Christian or Raul. Jordan and I both trained with Raul Rosas at Syndicate. And he's developed a lot as a fighter. He has a challenging fight coming up. Christian Rodriguez, I used to train with him at Rufus Sport, so I know Christian's a very, very tough opponent. He's highly skilled in jiu-jitsu, great striker. What's his biggest asset in his striking is that he's very calm. Raul Rosas, same concept though. He's young. He's got that young dog, so his confidence is, you know what I'm saying. And a lot of this sport, your confidence matched with your talents can take you so far. I never thought Conor McGregor was this amazing fighter, but what I did think was he had the greatest confident level, which is what made him such an amazing fighter. And I see that a little bit in Raul Rosas. He has this confidence, like it's
that's the kid who's like 17 and just now he's 18 and won the 50 G's to get his mom a minivan.
He's also fighting on that card.
Yeah.
Good on you, young man. I don't know your opponent, but I hope you win.
His opponent's really good.
He's really good.
He's like 12-1. He's only lost as a last-minute replacement up a weight class against a guy who's now ranked.
Yeah, I used to train with him too, so I know how good he is.
Do you guys, as UFC fighters, think that even if you have a skill set that will allow you to get in the UFC, that like man strength? You ever hear the term man strength? Like, and I remember I had a buddy, Josh, shout out to my brother Josh, skinny as hell. This dude never worked out. And we used to wrestle and he would just toss me around. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, it's because I'm, I got that man strength. And
it's a real,
you think that's a real thing?
I think it is, because I think I used to call it old man strength, because I feel like you ever see those old people that just strong for no reason. For no reason, they got like old man strength is a real thing.
They were throwing concrete for 50 years.
Yeah, I had a wrestling coach, and he was probably like in his 50s, and I was in high school, and man, he was the strongest human being I've ever felt. He was just like.
So do you think it'll catch up to him, like going against someone your age, 10 years older than him? Like when you grab him, it's going to be different, or do you think his skill will get him by?
I think I kind of believe in man strength, but I don't think the physicality is going to be the issue for Raul.
No,
especially at that weight class. No. So it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, 125ers, but they're really little guys.
And Christian's not that. So. It's a 35 weight class, true. And Christian's not that kind of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's not
using his physical to win the fight.
Yes, he's not that kind of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Where he's like, if it was like a Peter Yan, where I'm like, he's got real man strength. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's coming in aggressive. He's trying to take your head off.
But Christian's not that kind of a fighter. He's not, but he's very calm, composed, great striker, great grappler. So it's a tough fight for Raul. Can Raul get it done? Of course he can get it done. You know what I'm saying? I think his grappling aspect of his back takes is pretty. He's good on the back. So he can definitely get it done. But is it a tall order for Raul? Man, this is the tallest of order. Going from, Jay Perrin to Christian Rodriguez is a tall order. So I'm excited to see that fight, man.
I'm stoked for the kid.
Raul has he's got a bright future, and depending on who he has in his corner and who's driving the ship, he can do very well, or he can take an L and learn from it. You know what I'm saying? There's really no right now in the stage of his career. There's really no losing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's a kid.
He loses this fight, he learns from it. He wins this fight. Good for him. You know what I'm saying? It's a win-win situation. However he wants to look at it. But if he does lose and he lets it seep into his brain, and you know what I'm saying,
then it could be an issue.
Could be,
because in 10 years from now, no one's going to look back and say, "I remember that." It's going to. I mean, look at the fan base now. How many? I don't want to call them casual fans. Fans are fans, but I mean, everybody that knows like Masvidal, Diaz, Conor, they only came around in like 2015, 16, right? Yeah. So think about all the fans that are going to be here in the next 6 years. It's going to be a completely different fan base, especially with WWE merging. Of course, they're going to try to merge that fan base to get more viewers.
Yep.
So if he allows it to get into his head, it can affect him in the long term. But don't let it, young man, because in 6 months, nothing's even going to matter.
This is true.
So what's next for you?
I don't know.
Do you think that it's harder to? Well, you said that you had some like social anxieties, and I get that too. You fought one of the most. I mean, got to be right. Top 4 most hype famous people in all of MMA. Is it going to be different your next fight? You already fought again, but to go in, like, is it better now? It's more quiet. It's easier to like.
Yeah, it's more quiet, but honest, like it was. Yeah, so a bunch of 1,000 interviews was very tedious and very annoying.
Yeah,
the accents were hard for me to understand.
Hell yeah.
But what you going to do, fight?
But you always wonder because very few fighters get to be like in the big spotlight fight. Like, oh, will that affect me? Is it something that's going to bug me? Is it going to get in my head?
Yeah,
and. Even when I was there in the O2 Arena, I was having the most fun ever, like booing the crowd back. Like I had the funnest week.
Yeah.
And I know like that stuff doesn't bug me. At the end of the day, it's just a fist fight. And yes, there's a lot of money on the line of it, and like it helps secure your future. But I try to bring the same confidence to my MMA fights that I did when people would push me at a party. There's no one more confident than like a 21-year-old guy who's had like three shots and the guy pushes him. You're so confident when that moment happens. You're down to fight anybody. And I kind of bring that same confidence when I'm going into a professional athlete. It's just a fist fight. The ramifications of me losing that aren't nearly as big as me getting beat up at a party.
No.
That was way scarier, way dumber. I'm a little older now. I'm still young, but
except
that had to help you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the only difference is when you lose, against Paddy Pimblett, you spend like about 3 months of fans just talking shit.
Oh yeah,
just going. Oh my, that's the worst part about fighting at this organization at this level.
The internet.
Oh man, and you can be as tough skinned as you want, but that one fan that says that one thing. That's just like, oh, man. Yeah. Every once in a while, you get, you know what I'm saying? You post a picture of your mom, and they're like, man, that bitch is ugly. You're like,
so you got to make fun of yourself and say all the shit they're going to say, so you take their ammunition away.
There was one comment that's still under my skin from a Paddy.
You were right. He's and it still remembers.
It's the dumbest comment, but I lost. And he's like, it's because you read so damn much. That's why you lost. It's like, you spent your time reading the Wheel of Time. You should have spent some time running. And and he said it earlier. Like, as soon as the fight went down, he's like, you read too much to beat Paddy. And I was like, what the hell you mean, homie? And then, like, I lost. And he's like, it's because you read too much. I'm like, nigga, what the hell, man? I was so angry.
He got you right in your sweet spot.
But was there a moment, though, where after you lost, where you're like, damn, do I read too much?
No, for sure.
You start throwing books in the garbage. Honey, what are you doing? I'm never reading again.
For real.
Now, moving forward, though, I think that it can only be easier. Like your last fight had to. I mean, you went against one of the biggest stars in the UK.
Yes.
In the UK, yes. You flew to there.
I don't think there is a bigger star right now in the UK in the UFC. Because Darren Till he's not in the UFC anymore. Yeah. Who else? I think Paddy's. That's Paddy's right now.
Well, Leon, but Paddy's way bigger.
Yeah, Paddy's bigger than Leon. It's crazy. Leon's champion, but Paddy got 3 times as many followers.
So imagine you go across the pond and you fight that in enemy territory against their guy, like. What else? Nothing's gonna bother you from here on out.
Right.
Like, what else could they do to you that you're gonna be like, oh, there's too much pressure right now.
This is true.
I'm a little out of my element. You're like, dude, I fought in London against Paddy the Baddy. Like,
dude, in London where the fans are going nuts, there's nothing that could.
I was pelted with like beers, everything.
Really?
After the fight, like everyone's cussing you out, like double fingers in your face. And I actually smacked a fan. I smacked a person in the crowd.
Allegedly,
good. They deserve it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but he grabbed me. Because like some people are like, oh, good job, man. So like I grabbed him and he pulled me. Like he pulled me up. He's like, that's right. You get after that. And I'm like, go. And I smacked him. Okay. And when I smacked him, like he kind of froze. Yeah. And he kind of still held on. But then my homie Chris Ruffin, like a big black guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big black guy. Marching behind me, and all the crowd of people like, around the guy that I smacked jumps away from me, and they all were so nice. They all were so nice or distant from me.
Yeah, they didn't want to get punched in the chin.
I love how they see the big black guy, and they're like, oh, whoa, hey, hey, Jordan, how you doing?
You see, I'm the little light skinned weird nerdy kid that you could bully. You'll push,
or you think you
can.
They'll
push and they'll push and they'll push. But when I'm with Chris Ruffin, no one's gonna bully me.
I love it, man. Yeah, man, that's a good point you brought up, Jordan. Robbie, that's a really good point because
what else could bother you now?
It's true. You fought at literally
the highest level.
Yeah, and in London too. It's not like you fought Paddy at T-Mobile here in Vegas.
Yeah, you're home.
Yeah, you fought Paddy, which you still would have gotten booed.
Yeah,
what else? Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
The only other fight that would have been that big is if you fought Conor.
Yeah, but this is before everyone. So like, this is when everyone either was annoyed by Paddy, or they loved him, or they just wanted him to fail. Now a bunch of people hate him.
Oh, because he's talking
so like,
shit.
If I would have had the Paddy after he talked about Ariel Helwani and all the other stuff, I think I would have been totally fine. There would have been a few more like cheers for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, That was the most watched like not pay-per-view bout of the year.
Yeah.
And
well, I called the Schmo out this weekend publicly.
He's fighting.
And I'm a big fan, Schmo. If you watch this, I've been following your journey. So no animosity.
That's right. Who is he fighting?
No disrespect to his opponent, but I don't know. I have no idea.
That wasn't an April Fool's thing?
If it is, that I'm not fooling.
No, I think he posted it like Friday.
Yeah, I think he's going to really get in there. And from what I see, like I know his girlfriend is an athlete. She's a swimmer.
Yeah, Helen is a great athlete.
You know, he trains a lot. That's why I was like, give me a couple months, I'll start running. I got O'Day in my corner, and let's do it, Schmo.
He's got me as a sparring partner now.
Come beat up this old man.
But going back to the Paddy thing real quick. Where do you think all of the hatred for Paddy is coming from lately? Because I haven't really been following him.
He just had ankle surgery, and from the hospital bed, he made a YouTube video for his channel where he was just talking crazy shit to Jared Gordon, like crazy disrespectful. Like, I don't even want to say what he was saying, but it was really rude. And he's only talking shit because he knows he lost. You're not going to win a fight and then talk about your opponent 2 months later.
Paddy lost that fight.
No disrespect to Paddy, but I
clear as day.
You know,
it was a pretty big robbery, but it was unanimous. But it's easy. Like,
I don't want to bash Paddy. He's doing his thing. Obviously,
we could bash him. Screw that Scouser. But like he fought a past prime Jared Gordon.
Yeah,
and that should have been a defining moment for Jared Gordon. And it was sullied. It was messed up.
It was, man.
And Pat's like, I'll fight him now after he fights Bobby Green, which is a good chance he might get knocked out. I'll fight him off of a knockout loss, off of 2 losses where he should have beat me, but it was messed up. Like, it's not cool. It's not a good look.
No,
you were supposed to beat Jared Gordon. Everyone who's like supposed to finish Jared Gordon. You got beat and then got the robbery, get the decision.
That fight was so bad. Like, I was just like. When they were announcing it, I was like, I was already like, oh, good job, Jared. That was good. That was a good performance. You know what I'm saying? I was already like, you know what? That's a good performance. That was really good. And then they said Paddy. I was like, did I watch the same fight that
I did that last week or 2 weeks ago when Vettori fought
Roman Dolidze.
What about Macy Barber? I thought like the same thing.
Macy Barber's never won a decision in her life.
I thought that with Macy too, man. I'm not gonna lie. When Macy Barber fought, I was like, ooh,
yeah. Well, we got like 9 minutes left. What's next for you? Do you have anything on the horizon? Are you in camp now, or are you?
I haven't been out of camp. I'm just gonna stay skinny. Hopefully, some fights like drop through and I can take something last minute. But yeah, I want to get a good fight because I'm trying to renegotiate a contract, get some more money. But hopefully, I don't want them to throw me to some guy who's gonna kill me. For more money, if I'm being honest.
So nothing
I want
on
the
paper.
easiest fight for the most money. That's what's hopefully next for me. So.
They said, Jordan, you want to fight Islam for the?
Well, okay, I'll fight any of the. Can you imagine the pressure on one of these Dagestani Muslim guys? If I'm like, I'm gonna twerk on you, I'm this. Even if they think I'm a clown,
brother, you
smash.
Yo,
you have to do that in the U.S.
For real.
You wouldn't make it out of Abu Dhabi.
Smash me.
You smash?
Yeah, he's right.
And where are you at, Ode? What's been going on with you? I know you've been training a lot. Well, that's kind of all you guys do.
Well, yeah, I just recently moved. Everyone's been moving lately. Jordan just moved. I just moved. Man, yeah. So
thanks for rubbing it in. He's like, oh, you're in Centennial Hills? I said, yeah, but my place is dope. He goes, I got the same, but I got a garage too.
Right, 5 minutes from the UFC. But Jordan has it rough. He lives like an hour from here. But
I live in Pahrump.
Yeah.
Wait, for
Really?
real?
Yeah,
You're
I live
okay
in
making
Pahrump.
that? I'm trying to convince my girl to go out there because my grandparents live out there, and I have property out there.
Prostitution's legal.
All right, I'm gonna get sponsored by the Bunny Ranch. But I got a quarter acre for like $260,000. Like,
Right? You get land out there.
I have a big yard. Like,
But you're also an active fighter. I think that's a little more zen out there. You can get away from all this crap, and just focus like the 205 champ. That dude's like sleeping in dark rooms for a week straight. What's his name?
Yuri Prohaska.
Yeah, Yuri Prohaska. So what's besides the move? Have you called anybody out? Are you looking at any fights?
I was hoping to fight Matt Schnell. You know what's so funny? This guy came up to me in the locker room.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This
is a great story.
And I'm in the locker room. And he taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Man, really nice fight. Your last fight, man. That was a really good job." I was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate that." He's like, "What's next for you? You got anybody next? You got any fights coming up?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just kind of waiting to see who wants to fight and seeing how the card plays out." And he goes, "Well, I heard you wanted to fight me." I was like, "Who are you?" He had a hat on. He's like, he takes his hat off. He's like, "I'm Matt Schnell." I was like, "Oh shit, hey, what's going on?"
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Then we talked and stuff like that. He's actually a cool guy, man. Matt's a really cool guy. We traded messages. It's crazy how people think that two people that fight each other hate each other, but that's not really the case. I'm friends with all the people that I fought. Me and Manil are good friends. CJ Vergara, he just fought last week, 2 weeks ago. Put on a freaking, he got fight of the month from that comeback. That CJ
killed my parlay.
He killed your parlay. But yeah, man, I'm trying to see who is ready to fight, and if somebody wants. I'm looking towards June, July.
June, July.
Yes.
You want me to get Brandon for you? I mean, he's here. I can just talk to him and be like, "Hey, yo, let's get Ode the title money."
Hey, let's run it, man.
Let's run it.
Can you imagine? That would be great. But I got some ways to go. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like one of those people who feels like they deserve a title shot or they deserve a shot at the top 5 or top 10. I know right now I still have, I have had 7 fights in the UFC, but I'm knocking on the door at the top 15 division. So I'm about 1 or 2 fights from being in that top 15. So whatever God has for me in stores,
it'll play out.
It'll play out.
Absolutely.
So that's my mindset, and that's how I'm moving forward. I used to think.
So what he's saying is he wants to fight all of you,
pretty much,
every one of you,
pretty much.
He's coming for it,
pretty much, man.
So final predictions. I know we're gonna go over it Thursday on the fights.
Burns,
Masvidal. Who you guys got?
Burns. Yeah,
Burns.
Yeah. I think Burns eats him. I don't think it's a close fight at all.
I'm gonna go with Masvidal.
Really?
I am, because I'm a fan and not a fighter.
You're a fan of Street Judas?
I am.
You know what? Why don't you just are you gonna bet on the fight at all?
No, I'm too broke to bet on fights.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you're gonna bet on that, why don't you just give me the money?
I'll let you bet.
No.
I lost money last fight.
No. Just give me the money instead of throwing your money away.
Just directly to you.
Yeah, just give.
Ode will get gas.
No, I'm sure I'll do something, but I lost money last fight. I was pretty pissed about that. So you guys have Burns. And then we got round 4 for the champ Izzy versus
which we'll talk about on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. But I'm excited for that. That guy scares me. Have you guys met him in person yet?
Who, Pierre?
Yeah.
No, I've never met him. Izzy though, really, dude.
Dope.
Izzy is one of the most authentic, nice person you'll meet. He's so nice. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. Well, I want to say thanks for coming through.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yes, Jordan. It's always a pleasure, man. For real. The Monkey King, ladies and gentlemen.
Jordan Levitt in the building. So, again, watch us every Monday and Thursday, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. We go live and we do breakdowns of fights. This is Fight Junkie, sponsored by MMA Fight Universe. And I'm Bob, just Bob. And
I am Ode, the Jamaican sensation Osborne. We have Jordan Levitt as our guest today. Thanks a lot, Jordan, for coming in.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Stay tuned for more awesome Fight Junkies